Welcome to Heart Like Harriet. Okay. So this podcast is all about celebrating freedom in all forms. And I'm your host, Giselle Phelps. And so I love to say that I'm Underground Railroad Black because I am a descendant of the Underground Railroad. That's correct. My great-great-grandfather, Adam Nicholson, was a freedom seeker who escaped from a plantation in Virginia and headed to freedom in Canada. And this is before the Emancipation Proclamation. And so with that, Harriet Tubman has always been a guiding force for me in my life. And I grew up in a church that was one of Harriet Tubman's last stops on the Underground Railroad. And this podcast is a tribute to her legacy and a love letter to those of us who choose freedom in love, work, wealth, and creativity. So each week, I'm going to sit down with bold leaders and visionaries and truth tellers who are forging their own paths and embodying what it means to live with a heart like Harriet. So before we get into this episode right here, we want to hear from you, so leave us a review on Apple or Spotify, YouTube, or, wherever on the internet you're listening to Heart Like Harriet. Okay. So today's guest is such a bright light. They are one of my favorite people to run into when I'm out around town. So we're talking about Dexter Mayfield, and I'm gonna read from my little iPad here because I want to make sure I do Dexter right with this intro, okay? So Dexter is living proof that authenticity is its own superpower. He is a dynamic performer, plus-size model, and unapologetically joyful presence in both entertainment and fashion. And he comes from Dallas, Texas, baby. With those Texas roots to a global stage, Dexter has danced alongside icons like Jennifer Lopez and Taylor Swift. He's also judged talent on the TV show Come Dance With Me and transformed red carpets and runways into spaces of bold self-expression. But it doesn't end there. Dexter's creativity is not limited to the stage. He is redefining what confidence, queerness, and beauty can look like in today's world. Whether he's gracing magazine covers, hosting the Queer X Awards, or lighting up the Savage X Fenty runway, Dexter shows up fully and fearlessly in every space he enters. The theme today is freedom and creativity, and Dexter personifies that. Freedom is choosing expression over expectation and joy over judgment. Dexter, boo.
Giselle, that was amazing. My heart is filled with so much love. Thank you so much for that. That was beautiful. Oh my God.
Welcome to Heart Like Harriet.
Thank you for having me.
You truly are one of my favorite people to run into. Like, we see each other at events all the time, and it's always such a vibe.
We light up each other's lives, trust me, because I feel the exact same way about you, because I know the second I see you, that's it. That's the homie, that's the circle, that's where we're going to be. We're going to be together, chilling, and just... you just bring me so much joy, and it's so my honor to absolutely be here.
Thank you. And you're a Sagittarius, right?
I am.
Okay.
I am Sagittarius Sun, Virgo Moon, Gemini Rising.
And I'm a Sag too, so we're giving a fierce Sag energy today.
Honey, the fire is hot, honey. The fire is hot today.
So let's start with the question that I open this podcast with every episode, and that is, what does freedom mean to you, especially right now?
Oh my goodness. Freedom means absolute foundational, like, just being rooted in your core of who you are and not being afraid to share that with the world. And especially in a time where our histories trying to be diminished and deleted, all this progress that we've had over the past hundreds of years is being questioned and taken aback. And I think that what I personally say is that my existence is an act of resistance. And so you just got to be who you are, no matter what voices come into the world that say you're not enough. So just really being able to tap into your authenticity, your genuine intention, and really express that as free as possible. That's what freedom means to me.
I love that. And so you have carved out space for yourself in industries that weren't made for bodies like yours, people like yours. How has that impacted your creative expression?
It's been my honest to God guiding light, because for me specifically, the first time I saw a different body when it came to dance was on So You Think You Can Dance. I believe it was the second season. And it was a dynamic and beautiful performer. Her name's Danielle Denise Jones. And once I saw her, I was like, hold up, wait a minute. Where's more of this? I don't like, that was the first time I even thought dance was a possibility, because I always loved dancing when I'm at home. I actually started dancing in church as a form of worship with an all-male dance troupe, or sacred dances, which is what we called it at my home church. And once I started going through college and navigating that space, I kind of got a little love bug for going to dance class and getting in tune with choreography. And I just felt that there needed to be some type of representation. And this was back before any type of inclusion was on the table. And I was just like, you know what? If I don't see myself in it, why not bring myself to it? So it's always been my guiding light to really show that no matter who you are, no matter what body you exist in, you are valued in what you want to do.
And I love what you said about that this kind of was birthed in the church.
Yeah.
Right? Because when I look at your dance videos, or I've seen you dance in person, when I
live and direct.
Yeah, I've seen you live and direct. There is an element of like protest or joyful rebellion in your movement. And so, you know, I think for those of us that come from the Black church, there is like a spiritual element of freedom that is attached to that. And so are you thinking about liberation when you're dancing?
Goodness. I think subconsciously I am, and I think intentionally it's already rooted in that. And especially because I did use or collaborate with the art form of dance as a form of worship. And like I would get that spiritual feeling once I did it. And I think that it not only brings joy, but it brings like, once you're actually watching someone in a different body move, you're like, oh, wait a minute. It challenges your entire way of thinking, because bigger bodies aren't supposed to be mobile. Bigger bodies are quote unquote lazy. Bigger bodies don't do much. So when you see such a juxtaposition of what we're indoctrinated to believe, then it just kind of challenges your whole system, which is why I think, for me at least, as much as I love the support that comes my way, specifically parasocially, I think that it really does mess with people's view of the world to see something so challenged that we are expected to be like, hey, this isn't supposed to happen, but it's happening. Just go with it instead of try to stop it on sight, you know?
And what kind of reactions do you get from people?
Overwhelmingly, it's so much love. It's like a pleasant surprise most of the time. And then the other side is quite negative and quite judgmental, but I try to navigate those spaces with love. I also, you know, have a little friend named Blockiana. If she needs to enter the chat, if she has to enter the chat, because you don't want to see me, I can make sure and oblige that request for you at any personal time you wish, you know. So
okay, that part. That part. And I read that you said before that your body used to be your biggest barrier
Yeah.
doing this work, but now it's your biggest asset. How did you make that shift, mentally?
I mentally made the shift because I had no other choice almost in it. When I was in a much smaller frame, when I was, code switching my movement to be more masculine or not necessarily be a full representation of my artistry when it comes to dance, there were so many roadblocks in my way that I was like, well, you're in between this and you're in between that. And, we need men who dance like men. And, you're just a little too feminine. Once I said, you know what? I'm just going to do me. I'm going to express myself how I want to express myself. I'm going to move how I want to move. The divine feminine is real. It exists inside of all of us, no matter what gender you feel you connect with. And I'm okay being a cisgendered man who embraces that divine feminine because it's protected me my entire life. Women have protected me my entire life. And I think that it's something that I've come to really embrace and really want to shine a light that the divine feminine is not something that we need to be so scared of and something that we need to be so intimidated by and just, so many changes would come if we challenge this perspective that patriarchy isn't the only way forward, And I think that it's just something that really resonates in my heart. And I'm just happy to be able to express that total expression of who I am as a human being. Totally.
You're giving me so much food for thought because what you're saying about tapping into your divine feminine as a cisgender man, how does that connect to you living freely, to being a free person?
It's just kind of my motto in life, I guess. And I think that we need more feminine energy in the world right now because, honey, the patriarchy is fighting back at every turn. And it's just like, it's so difficult to understand, at least for me, to deny the power of what women and femme energy provide to all of us globally, to be honest. Like, we all come from a mothering type of family in one way or another. And I think that leadership and that intention of caring and protecting and just making sure community is at the forefront, I think that that's what really helps me lean into that femme energy. And it's also something that is fun and it's sexy and it's sensual and it's, there's so much untapped power in that divine feminine that if I feel like we all lean into it in one way or another, I think we could all be better off as people.
And I love that. I mean, this podcast is called Heart Like Harriet.
I mean, come on. The literal guiding light of a movement. So, yeah.
Exactly. And so I want to ask then, so when it comes to, female figures, women figures in your life or, personally or in the zeitgeist, who do you look at that, you feel has represented that divine feminine, that free divine feminine that you're talking about? Yeah.
One that's very prevalent and that comes to mind right now is T.S. Madison. Someone who is unabashed and completely transparent with the impact of what feminine energy does. Viola Davis is another one. And there's so many. My mother, personally, she passed away when I was 14, but she is the reason I do any and everything in this life. And she acts as a roadmap. She acts as a protector. She acts as so much in my life. And I'm just so glad I got to share the time that I had with her and just to truly be Devorah Dickerson's son or one of her sons.
You can speak her name.
That's what I have to. That's what I have to. Devorah Dickerson Mayfield. That's my mommy. That's my mom. And I love her to death. And I just love her presence that she really brings to me every day. And in addition to that, her mom, Robbie Nail, and her Robbie Nail's sister, Johnny Mae, those three women were just everything to me growing up. And they, all the things you said, whether you see it in my style, whether you see it in my fashion, whether you see it in the way I move, they are the archetypes for all that I do. So those are just a few that I can think of right now.
That's beautiful. And I can feel their presence.
Oh,
I can feel their presence. Yes. I feel some fierce Southern Texas, bloodline coming through.
Honey,
yeah.
they play no games at all.
And so you mentioned fashion and dance. And so, you tap into multiple disciplines. And so is that a part of your creative freedom as well? Like not pigeonholing yourself to, I've only got to do dance. I can also do fashion. I can also do pop culture.
Exactly. For me, it's about being a multi-hyphenate artist, obviously. And even just being in the industry, you have to be a multi-hyphenate to really succeed and carve a path in any direction of the industry. And for me, when it comes to specifically the spaces of dance and fashion, again, fashion was someplace I never even thought was possible. And for me, I can't believe I'm saying this, 11 years ago was my first opportunity to walk a runway for Marco in LA Fashion Week. And from the design process from the beginning to when I hit the runway, it was such a collaborative experience. And Marco's also one of those people who told me to lean in to my femme energy. We had the decision to wear flats or wear heels. And I was like, you know what? I'll bring them and we'll see what works. And he was like, you have to wear the heels with this, little bodysuit that I had at the time. And little did I know it would open up an entirely new world to me. And it's one of those things to where it's like naturally and organically, it was spaces that I wanted to enter, and the opportunity came for me to enter those spaces in a very big and major way. And I'm just so grateful to be able to use my existence as a representation of what is possible. And it's just something that I take a lot of pride in, I hold really close to my heart, and hopefully the impact is felt as much as I put intention into it.
And that sounds like that moment on the runway was itself kind of a defining, liberating
Absolutely.
moment for you.
I had no clue. I did not know it was going to garner over 50 million views across all the platforms. And this was
50 million.
That was just going into a space that I didn't know needed that. And, it was one of those things that really sparked something within me that I was like, wait, I need this as well. I need to see this representation. I need to see that we are welcome in this space. And 11 years later, we're almost back to square one when it comes into including bigger bodies in the fashion space, especially when it comes to the fact that we were growing to such a good place just for everything to pull back and revert back to the old status quo. And it's just frustrates me daily, trust, but I feel that if we stay persistent, we'll get back to where we need to be.
Yeah, so what do you think, where do we go from here with everything that we're facing, right? As a community of Black people, queer people in bigger bodies.
Yeah.
Baby, you and me, we checking all the boxes. Honey.
All the intersections are being crossed.
All the intersections
just zoop. Absolutely.
Yeah, so, it can be a really kind of distressing time when you go through your feed on social media, you see the breaking news alerts, right? So where do we go from here when it comes to the culture of acceptance, body acceptance, especially we're living in the age of Ozempic and Zepbound and all the things.
Zepbound, Wegovy,
yeah.
the list goes on. Yeah. For me, we just have to get back to including everybody in the conversation. When I say everybody, bigger bodies, fit bodies, slim bodies, mid-sized bodies, average bodies, no matter what vessel you live in, we need to just get back to a place of treating each other like decent human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that we've kind of lost that over the course of the past few years. And especially now when there's so many loud voices and legislation that really want to challenge what progress really means.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we really need to get back to what is going to be better for us as a community as a whole of human beings living
Mm-hmm.
in specifically the United States of America, and how that's reflected globally as well. And I think that we just need to get back to handling each other with care. I feel like the care and the empathy is out of the window. I
Mm-hmm.
feel that because we are so attached and so connected to technology, sometimes we ourselves forget that on the other side of that comment, or on the other side of that video, or on the
Mm-hmm.
other side of whatever platform it comes in, these are simply human beings who are
Right.
trying to live daily through very trying and difficult and challenging times. And I think we just need to get back to coming together as a community. We need to really share solutions and find ways forward that can work for everybody. And I think that once we get back on task with that, it'll be a lot less stressful and a lot more seamless when it comes to including everybody at the table.
Yeah, and you've kind of answered this question, but what for Dexter, if you could look ahead through the looking glass, through the magic 8 ball, whatever the kids be looking at these days, what does a liberated future look like for those of us that sit at the intersections that we discuss? Queerness, artists, blackness,
Yeah.
all the things. What does that liberated future look like, do you think?
That liberated future looks like, if you have a cover of showrunners, guess what? We're there. If you have a decision-making body that is a board, we're at the table, as opposed to being questioned as to why we should be included at the table. I think that specifically in media, once we get back to representing everyone in television, whether it's non-scripted or scripted, whether it's telling fictional stories or real stories, we just get back to sharing our experiences transparently, and we get back to showing that each of these stories, no matter where on either of our intersections we lie, we all are connected and we all can relate to each other in one way or another. As we've
Amen.
always said, moving forward, we share so much more in common than separates us. And I think that if we could really let go of what people are telling us
Mhm.
that separates us, because at the end of the day, that's, speaking of truth, that is just a lie that we've been conditioned to believe, that
Mhm.
like these differences are why we must classify and quantify different people at certain levels. And if you exist at this intersection, this
Yeah.
is as far as you can go. Or if you exist at this intersection, this is
Right.
as far as you can go. I think that we need to get back to letting everyone know that the potential for anyone is endless, and that you can reach it to the top, or you can go as far as you want to go. And I think that we just have so much work to do.
We got a work cut out for us.
We just have so much work to do to come together, because we all exist in this world. Like, regardless of where we come from and the upbringing we have or what we're taught when we were younger, we all are existing in this place we call Earth. And if we want to sustain existing
Yeah.
on this place we call Earth, we have so much work to do, and just get back to doing what is actually right for everyone.
Amen. And listen, if you're watching on YouTube, let us know in the comments what a liberated future looks like to you. I'd love to know. Just type it in down there, wherever the box is,
things,
on
all
the YouTubes. Yeah, there. And so, Dexter, I want to ask you. You mentioned your first runway show, and I'm sure at the time wearing heels felt a little bit like a risk, right? But are there any other risks that you feel you've had to take so far in your journey in order to reach the level of creative freedom that you have today?
For me, it's honestly been that good old improv number one rule, just yes and. And for me, at every turn, for whether it's deciding to audition for the live stage enactment of How to Train Your Dragon, or doing a cruise contract in a disco show where I am wearing heels. Like, I've had all these opportunities that come my way that on site may be a little daunting and a little like, hold up, should I do this?
Right.
Like I said, I just accepted that intention of yes and see where it goes. And it's always led me to, one, traveling the entire world, but two, also putting me in spaces where I know that I'm valued. Like, I know that I'm valued as more than a dancer. I'm also an actor, where I know that I am valued, not just a performer, but a collaborative creative. You know, all of these things have opened my eyes to what I didn't think I could potentially do, but just through life experience and just saying yes to the opportunity, I've learned the capacity of what I can do totally as a human being and as a person who expresses themselves creatively in many facets of the world.
I was just listening to you. I'm like, that yes and mantra is the most Sagittarius ass thing I've ever heard.
Absolutely. It really is. And it's something that I'm so grateful that I've really embraced, because whenever I do get in my way and say, nah, that's not for me. Yes, you should have the autonomy to say no, because sometimes you need to say no. But opening up myself to opportunities that I didn't think were of value turned out to be some of the most valuable experiences I've ever had in my entire life.
I love that. And you, listen, I'm not, blowing smoke up Dexter's butt here. You truly are one of the most joyful people. Like in Hollywood, it can be kind of rare because you encounter a lot of interesting personalities.
Absolutely.
But I can't think of a time that I've encountered you where you weren't exuding joy. And so I'm just curious how that factors in for you, like just kind of maintaining that joy, if you associate that with just being free and living freely as well.
Just as I lean into joy, I have to lean into other emotions to balance that joy. There are times when I'm not so joyful and I'm not so upbeat and I'm not so positive when it comes to looking at things. And in those moments, I just have to feel it. I have to feel it. I have to feel the weight of it. I have to not lean into it necessarily, but just let it actually happen so that I can find a way through to the other side to find the joy again. And I think it's about balancing that and understanding that all sides are equal and all sides provide some type of opportunity for growth. And it's just one of those things where if there's a lesson that I need to learn, which I've had to learn many, then it's time to learn the lesson and it's time to find the solution to be better and to, again, come on the other side of that and find the joy of discovering what was an issue at that time. So I think that just feeling all of those things in real time and communicating that, whether that's to a therapist, whether that's to a confidant, whether that's just even just speaking it out loud into existence, whatever it is, it's something that I believe if I feel like I bottle it up, that's when I end up in a very different place that I personally do not like to go to, because it's hindered and blocked so many opportunities for me just in general, but also just when I'm in the depths of that and just I stay stuck in it, it's just counterproductive to anything that I could honestly do. So where there is joy, there is life and there is lessons, and it's just feeling all of it and understanding that in order to get through it and to find a solution, joy will be on the other side.
And I thank you for sharing that, because I think it's so important, because you are a joyful person.
Yeah.
But to live a truly authentic and free life, you're going to encounter a range of emotions. You're going to come up against a lot of adversity and trials and tribulations. And part of being free is being free to feel.
Yeah.
Anything.
Any and all the things. And all the things.
That's freedom.
Yeah,
right?
it's part of it. 100%.
That's part of it. So thank you so much for saying that and for sharing that.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Dexter, this has been everything.
Oh, I concur. I absolutely concur.
I could sit here for hours and just.
I know I was like, wait, that happened really fast. Are we already here? Are we already at the end?
The kiki is over, but the good thing is you can go on YouTube and watch other episodes of Heart Like Harriet.
That's right.
Or on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the things. So, Dexter, tell us, what do you have coming up next? What's in the pipeline for you?
What I have currently right now, and you might have seen, it's a pattern commercial with Tracy Ellis Ross and the entire cast of Girlfriends. Me and my girls that were before were called the Curlfriends. And it was just such an honor to be such a part of a cultural and beautiful moment to celebrate, again, divine feminine Black energy.
Yes.
And it's just, so if you see that on your commercials or your computers or your telephones,
like,
that's
and share.
me, that's shining. Yeah, so yeah.
And where can people follow you?
They can follow me at DexRated on TikTok and Instagram, Dex-Rated on X app and Blue Sky, and Dexter Mayfield on the YouTubes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dexter.
Thank you for having me. This was a cute little kiki. It was quick, cute and quick, but such a kiki.
Cute and quick. That's what we're doing. All right. So thank you so much to Dexter Mayfield for joining me today on Heart Like Harriet and for reminding us what it looks like to live loud and in color. Okay? If this conversation resonated with you, inspired you, made you feel something, then please share it with a friend, a neighbor, a sister, a brother, whoever, cousin. We want to make sure that Heart Like Harriet is reaching more people. And so it might help somebody, remind them that their voice is necessary and that their creativity matters. So let's keep building this community. Make sure to follow Heart Like Harriet on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Keep trusting yourself, keep going, and always move with a heart like Harriet.
I know that's right.